Video is king. I'm delighted to be joined today by Louise from Boyfrom. Louise, please tell me what floats your boat and what do Boyfrom do?
So Boyfrom's a creative agency. We're based in beautiful Shropshire, just like yourself, and we specialise in social media, graphic design and strategy. And our big passion is, what we say, doing good stuff for good people. So we are particularly motivated by training and supporting small businesses and empowering them to be able to create really good content themselves.
Brilliant. And then today we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into why video matters so much. And video is often by smaller businesses thought of something they can't do. Why does it matter so much, Louise?
Well, there are so many reasons. So to start off with is the increase in engagement rate. So, just Instagram themselves refer to themselves as a video sharing platform. That means if you're not sharing video, it's not interested in really opening up the algorithm so that you can kind of increase your following. So you're now in a situation where you have no choice but to create video. But the beauty of Instagram's features is that you do not have to be an expert. You also don't have to speak. You don't have to put yourself out there. You can create really interesting, fun, creative videos very straightforwardly. And hopefully through the course of the training that we're doing together, that will demystify video. And I think there's often a question is, does it need to be really professional? And I've seen really beautiful content going out, and it all comes down to authenticity. What's the purpose of video? The purpose of video is to tell your story, to showcase your products and services, and to engage your consumer. And consumers are much more hungry for video content than anything else, and it often feels much more authentic. So you're far more likely to build trust than you will do if you just put continually put like photos or graphics out there.
It's all about stopping the scroll at the end of the day. And I think what my acid test is always, think about what stops your thumb, isn't it? It's, how do you react as a human being? Just before we go on, if anybody's got any questions, you're more than likely watching this video on a Maybe page, and therefore you've got a blue chat icon down the bottom right-hand corner of the page. So please do just type in, and one of our fantastic team will respond to you. You can ask some questions about how to do things, and also, Louise is creating a whole series for us on how to do all of the things in this video. So if you actually go, actually I'll break off and actually see how to do a reel, you can type it in the box above, and you'll be able to see a how-to on how to build the thing we're talking about. So Louise, no pressure there then, but tell us more about sort of introducing in-feed video posts. What's the score? What's going on?
So in-feed video posts have always existed. They've been known as IGTV. IGTV kind of is not really a term that's used anymore. It's videos that are put out and they appear in your feed. They have a maximum length of 10 minutes, whereas IGTV was a lot longer. And what's great about in-feed video posts is they give you an opportunity to kind of tell longer stories. They are a space for kind of more aspirational content quite often. And what's great about the features in Instagram is there's a 60-second preview, which means that viewers can scroll through as you do. You can scroll through content and you'll get a 60-second snippet. So the first 60 seconds are really important, but you get a 60-second snippet of that video, after which consumers can decide whether they want to continue watching. So it's a really good feature.
So what you're saying is that anybody, without paying any money, can upload a video to Instagram, and they pre-roll it for 60 seconds, and then you click through and you can watch 10 minutes, all on the Instagram platform without having to host a video anywhere else.
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Brilliant. And you'll see on the on top of on your actual Instagram kind of homepage, you'll see the little arrow, and so actually there is a space within your Instagram profile to actually view all of those videos that you've created as well. So it serves like a catalogue as well for anyone wanting to go and consume more of your own content.
And all of this video can be shot on a mobile phone.
Everything can be shot on a mobile phone, absolutely. When I think back when we first started and the equipment that we needed in-house versus what we've got now, and which is a phone and a tripod and a microphone and a light. all of which can be put in my rucksack, and we can go off and create great content really simply. And it's inexpensive as well if you want to get any additional equipment as well.
Amazing. So without further ado, let's talk about a business that's using video amazingly. This is actually a business we know really well. It's a lovely retailer in the Cotswolds called Law & Co. And should we click through and have a look at that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh gosh, you see all my tabs open. I'm going to get to this. Here we go.
So this is what's so great about this, and actually I use this example with another client of ours who runs a vintage dress agency.
Wake up!
Sorry.
That's all right. And she was going, how do I get people to buy? I can't sell via my, I don't sell via my website. I don't want to go down the e-commerce route. And we were just going, this is what you need to be doing. Look how fun it is. So she's putting on the clothes. It's very dynamic. She's modeling them. It feels really authentic. You're engaging with that kind of content. You can see the clothes in action. So it's really effective. And actually loads of the big brands do this, but perhaps do it less authentically than she's doing herself. So it works really brilliantly. And you obviously, you can directly link through to shop as well.
So because one of the things that's always been a challenge on Instagram, until you had lots of followers, you couldn't link through on your content to posts or swipe up you didn't get, but you can now put a sticker on any story now, can't you, and go straight through to that post.
Oh, I'm so thrilled that they've made that change, because businesses previously, as you say, you had to have 10,000 followers before you could access the link and buy now and swipe up feature. So the fact that anyone can do that now is so crucial, and it's so crucial for their own growth, totally. And it also gives purpose, particularly if you're a product-based business. This video content, is giving real kind of purpose to her content. So by starting with, here's me modeling the clothes, and this is what it looks like in my shop, and you're buying from me, and you're establishing those relationships. You're then going, do you like what you see? Yes. Well, now you can buy straight away, and you don't have to think about it. You're getting people to go, I like that. I like what she's about. I look at that comment. I need that dress. Well, if you need that dress and you have that emotion where the word need is being used, then you can click on it and you buy it. And previously that journey was so much longer. You might show a nice video, but actually then you'd have to open up the website or click on a link on the bio. Then you need to find that dress in the shop. And then by that point, the cat might have puked up, the postman's come, you've realized you want a cup of tea, you've left washing in from this morning, and all of those things from real life have come in, and you haven't actually purchased that dress that you need. So it really makes those instantaneous decisions really work for people.
And this lady's really working it, she's really working it, isn't she? She's
so working it.
Try-ons. Let's just let's just see her trying products on. Just beautiful and having fun. This isn't staged content, is it?
No, and look at that. You see that it's the fun bit. I think that's the thing we need to demystify, is that you don't have to be this slick videographer. Look, they're struggling to put some of their clothes on. They're all smiling and having a lovely time. There's this sense that if you don't know this shop, when you go in, you're going to be well looked after. You're probably going to have a lovely experience, and you're definitely going to see some snazzy clothes, and you're probably going to come out poorer, but you'll have had a lovely experience, and you'll have that dress that you need. But it's all of that. That's why video is so crucial, is because by the time somebody comes to purchase from you, they feel like they already know you. You can't do that in a single post. You can't do that in and it's not salesy, it's much more authentic.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you go through to her website, her Instagram feed brings her products to life in a way that her website never does.
Oh, absolutely. It's so much better. Yeah. And she's trying to, but you can see the impact of a static image. Like she's gorgeous, she's great, she's got amazing clothes. I want to shop in there, there's no question. But actually my relationship with that brand would be through Instagram over the website, 100%.
You just want to go there, don't you?
I do want to go there, yeah, with somebody else's wallet.
Great job. And that's very much shot on an iPhone coverage footage, isn't it? That's not.
Yeah, it's all shot on an iPhone, yeah, or an Android, but it's shot on a mobile phone, yeah.
So look, that's a retailer that sells beautiful ladies' clothes. Bang on the right demographic for it. But what can in-feed video help other businesses? How can it help them communicate with their customers?
Well, I think you'll have a lot of product-based businesses watching this for whom it seems fairly obvious, as with everything that we've discussed about how to use video to drive sales, and you can track return on investment, and there perhaps feels a greater sense of urgency to start working in that way. But for all businesses, service-based businesses, whatever you do, video is really crucial. So apart from the fact that once you start putting video content out regularly, Instagram's algorithms start to really work in your favor, and you can be found in videos you might like, content that can feed over into Facebook as well. So Meta will share that content over onto Facebook so you can be seen. There's the explore page that you can get discovered in. So you have an opportunity to be discovered by people in multiple different ways than you would have done had you just put a picture up there. It's really nice for any awareness driving content. So this is who we are, this is what we're about. Also use in-feed videos if you're looking to kind of really connect. If you've got a message that you want to communicate that's longer than you would be able to do on a reel, ask opinions of your followers. Are you looking to bring in a new product range? Do you have a problem that you're looking to solve? Are you having a supply chain issue and you can't actually fulfill something that your customers want? Then go on and be open, be transparent, talk about it, and just be real, and actually people will start to really engage. Feed videos are brilliant for any how-tos as well, and interviews. So it works brilliantly for that, and consumers just love it. You used the phrase about stopping your thumb years ago on some Facebook training. That was that thumb stopping content, and I think that's the thing to really know that you have to be thinking about. Because of how busy our lives are, we're consuming content and we're consuming things in our lives at the same time. So your content on Instagram has to compete with the TV, the kids, cooking the tea. It has to compete with walking down the street, and it has to compete with cute babies and dogs, and food photos and food images. You've got to compete with so much noise out there, that the best chance you've got of doing that is by putting out some cool videos that are real.
So I think, Louise, that analogy of all of the things you've got to compete with really rings true when you stop and think about it. It's really easy in our business worlds to go, oh, what we're doing is amazing. And then you actually think the context that video is going to be consumed in is while somebody's snacking on content on the bus, or, just cooking supper. And why am I going to stop and look at it?
Yeah. It has to catch your eye, and still images and graphics just tend to not do that anymore because of how, particularly I think if you're under 30 or 25, if you've been consuming social media most of your kind of teenage life, then your receptors in your brain have been wired differently. So to get that, we have to kind of wave at them through the screen so that they stop and listen. And I think that's a really important thing to remember through this. And you can do that without it feeling desperate, and you can definitely do that. It's just create something that is moving and interesting. Video orientation is really kind of key here. With in-feed video, you can do all formats. You can do vertical, square, you can do landscape. So it's really important to think about which way round is going to best frame your content. What I would say, though, is that vertical is the best way forward because of, again, it's thinking about the psychology of the consumer of your Instagram. And that is, someone's walking down the street, they're sitting around, they're always holding their phone like that. They don't particularly want to look like that. They don't really want to make any effort. But what you want is your content to consume their whole screen so they don't get distracted by anything else.
Oh, that's interesting. So what you're saying with vertical is that, for example, with Ludlow Dry Gin, I'd still be able to see the top and bottom window.
Yeah.
So you've got my full attention.
Yeah.
By doing it vertical, you've taken up my whole screen. So it's like
I've got you.
Yeah, you got me. You captured me. So why would people? So why would somebody use landscape? What would be the reason to do that?
So again, I mean, that top version is a promotional video. So it was an advertisement, it was a brand promo. So that's why it was done in landscape. So it actually wasn't created specifically for Instagram. Why? So that's why it's landscaped, and it worked for what it need for the purpose of that video. And a lot of people still create landscape because of the framing, if they are actually creating beautiful wide shots, if it's something usually quite a lot of professional videos are shooting in landscape, because of the nature of the storytelling that they're doing. But anyone who is creating video themselves in-house, I would struggle you'd have to have a good reason to go landscape, and it would be because the only way you would have it is because you're trying to showcase something that requires more space to do so. But ask yourself the question is, what are you trying to say in that video? Can you say it if it's vertical? Because if you are, that's better for the consumer, definitely.
Interesting. And then video by default has the sound off. So how important is it to make sure that you include captions with your video?
So the Instagram would say it's really important to put captions. What you can do with Reels, which we're coming to, is it can auto-generate you can auto-generate captions. Some people, consumers can find it quite annoying and are very used to pressing the off button with the mute. So again, it relates to what the purpose of the video is. So if you're doing a how-to video and you've got some steps and you've got some key bits of information, you should absolutely throw some text in there. And it's very easy to do, throw some text at the various points to showcase what you're trying to do. That's great. For this video that's underneath, that's an interview, and it lasts a minute long, and it's not of value in that context for all of that text to scroll through, because it's a long conversation. So it comes down very much to what you're trying to say. What I would say though is, when you're trying to get your people to look, if for example, you're doing a how-to, you could have on your opening screen flashing up a caption which is saying what your video is about at the start of the video. So and my brain's not even working anything out now, but make a cocktail in 10 seconds.
Yeah. So they kind of letterbox the content. So it's got something that catches your attention. You tell me what you're going to tell me, and then you tell me.
Exactly.
And then obviously the caption in the body copy of the post can then tell you some more. So yeah.
That's the thing to remember with all of this, is if you're really going to leverage the power that you've got on Instagram, is that you don't forget the captions and the hashtags.
Absolutely. I always say hashtags are your digital signpost. If you don't put hashtags on, nobody will find it. So
nobody will find it. And the captions are really important as well, because consumers do read them. It's there. And sometimes they will scroll down and have a look what you're saying on your video before they actually then, some discerning customers might look at both with the captions before the video, I mean to say.
Absolutely. We're being judged all the time. It's terrifying.
All the time, yeah. Don't let that put you off though.
No. And look, it's like anything in life. If you don't go out and meet people, things don't happen. Social media it's disposable but valuable, and it's that thing of you don't make a mistake for very long, do you?
No, exactly. There are all sorts of video ideas that you can do, small clips, teasers, mini case studies. These guys are really good, actually, made by Sunday. They're a vegan skincare brand, growing rapidly, and they use video continuously to achieve that. They use how-tos, they've got explainers, they take every element of their business and what it stands for, and they talk about it. And you'll see, if you scroll through, there is nothing uber pro and glossy about it. It's real, and they pride themselves on that realness, basically. So yeah, so if you look at, they've got the process, they want to show that it's handmade, packaging, what it stands for. If they go on and talk to camera, if they're, have you got a specific skincare issue? Is it, do you suffer from, eczema? If so, then, so they use every single type of video content that you can do on Instagram, they use, and it's worth having a scroll through and seeing the kind of stuff that they do. They can, as long as you're not put off by bad language. I'm not their demographic, but they're a bit too cool for school for me. But their use of video is excellent.
And that's their audience. If you've got acne, you're a certain age, aren't you? So they've got to be relatable.
Yeah, totally relatable. And all sorts of stuff that appear on a lot of the content that we're creating together, but also exists already on Maybe. They are doing that. They know their audience, they talk the talk, they explain the story, and they're great at selling.
So while we're here, do you want to highlight the difference between this guy here and this guy here? So
yeah, absolutely. So the one that your cursor is over at the moment, this is a reel. Reel is short content, much shorter content. We're going to go on to talk about reels. Reels are Instagram's number one, right? So if you're using reels, Instagram loves you.
Sorry, Louise. Reels are if you like, the Instagram's version of TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see here actually the use of auto-generated captions that we were just talking about. So
that's happening automatically. She hasn't had to do anything. That's just
no, she'll have had to input that into the making process. So in the how-to video, I'll show you how that works.
There you go, guys. My job is to ask Louise the questions that everybody asks.
So yeah, real content, great. If it's got a little arrow like that, it's an in-feed video. And this is, again, just another opportunity for them to talk to their audience. So the content is longer than a reel will be. Often, if you go live, it will then appear as an in-feed video after you've gone live as well.
And Louise, that's another. That's another one of the short how-tos you're going to do. So Instagram, you've got reels, you've got in-feed, and you've got lives, and you've got. So you've got 4 different ways of displaying video. In Instagram. And so we've seen here a reel, we've seen an in-feed video. If you come to the top of their feed, then we can see their reels with their stories, where they can also put content.
And then if you can see then the link to the reels videos and stories, reels videos on their posts, which is great. And
as a business, how do I work out? How do I work out which one I should do? So I've got reels and I've got videos. What's the benefit between a reel and a video? What do I do? How do I make my choice?
So reels are more powerful.
Why?
So that is so reels are Instagram's, because of the success of TikTok. So TikTok is really short form content, short, sharp, fun, entertaining, non-glossy. Consumers have just gone for TikTok, and reels are Instagram's version of TikTok. So therefore, to knowing that consumers love TikTok, they're prioritizing reels in terms of content that goes out there. So the more reels you do, the more you'll be seen. And it's more powerful than video. So video is more important, is crucial for telling stories. It's crucial for some slightly longer form content. But if you just have a look at the engagement on their reels, you can see the number of people who've watched it. You see the thousands.
Yes, it's staggering actually, isn't it? When you look here, it's 10.8 here, 1,000 here, and you've got 162 likes, for example. We then flick across their video content.
Yeah, it'll be very different.
Remember 10.8, 6.9, 2.5, go to video content, and you're in hundreds.
Yeah, 100,000 always. Yeah.
And so as regards creating that content, which I know you're going to cover in your in our quickie section, as they say, the effort required to create this video versus a reel, does that take a business much longer, Louise?
No, gosh, no, not at all. And in fact, it depends on what you're trying to do. So, we would use an in-feed video for, a slightly longer bit of content than a reel. We would maybe a bit more formal brand related content we would put out as in-feed video. For us, the reels are about us being out and about, meeting with clients, behind the scenes in the office, that kind of stuff, and people just love it. And it's designed so that it doesn't take you very long. You've got 30 seconds and you can edit in the reel, you add music in the reel, you add your captions in the reel. It's all there. It's a button you press, you can get it to the right length, and then you post it.
So spoiler, you're going to show everybody how they can do all of this inside their Instagram account without having to do any video editing elsewhere.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How about it, guys?
How about that?
So any questions about it, click the little blue button below. But spoiler alert, that is also available in the search bar above.
Yes.
So let's look at some examples of best in-feed video posts on Instagram. I'm excited. Let's go. Let's go and have a look at what Boromarket are up to. I'm embarrassed about the number of tabs I've got open, so I always got so many tabs open. Oh my gosh, I want to eat this. Look at that.
I know. I mean, if you think about how much we love food photography, and Instagram has really been the place for food photographers and foodies to kind of grow and develop and master their art. And this doesn't have any of that aesthetic beauty, but my God, does it make you want the food perhaps more. You're stopping, you're watching, you're yeah.
Oh my God, it's mesmerizing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And people just are, I think the hunger for video has really come off what's how we've developed anyway in terms of how we engage with content. But if you think about the impact of the pandemic and people were alone with their phones, and so they were interested in how to do things behind the scenes, what other people are doing. We're nosy. We're so nosy.
Oh, I can't watch that anymore. Maybe I'm hungry. What about these guys? Look at that.
Oh, I know. Just look at it.
Oh, but you're going to stop and watch this. Who is not going to stop and watch this?
It's so true. And you can tell the story of each of what makes that so delicious. But we don't need to read the text before going, I've got to eat that.
But the value to the brand, 113,000 people have watched that.
Yeah.
That is going to take people, that's going to make people stop. Next time they walk past their store, they're going to go in and they're going to buy one of those, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's got this kind of knock-on effect as well. So I know that it might feel for some people watching a bit oppressive, thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do still? But it like this level of like inspiration. So I would always recommend that, we do that you spend some time just going through the Reels tab on and video tab on Instagram. You'll quickly be able to see what's professional, what's not. And it's the not professional ones that you're really interested in, and you're likely to see that those have far greater engagement anyway. And you'll see that what's been done is not rocket science. It's just a way of making you go, oh, that looks great, or that's funny, or it's a way of demonstrating personality. And some people are brilliant at it, like absolutely brilliant at just having enormous fun and putting that content out really quickly.
Next time I go into bakery, I'm going to ask them, have they got a creme brulee donut? They just look extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk in one of the other videos about relatable influencers and the importance of those to content. And actually, it will be good to show you how some of those are using video content.
Oh, amazing. So any questions on this, remember blue chat button below, or do search in the box above for some how-tos on how to create content like this. Spoiler alert, you don't have to have a creme brulee donut. You can do this for any subject matter you like. So introducing story videos, Louise. So this is the shorter format video, right?
Yeah, much shorter in stories. Stories are so important still, absolutely crucial. I mean, I think Instagram recommends that you do 2 to 5 stories a day. And that probably has made some people go, well, I can't do that, I've got enough time. And you're absolutely right, you don't have enough time, particularly for those people for whom social media remains a bit of a burden. But you can leverage so much. If you can do one daily story, you'll find that you start to grow organically and reach more people, for sure. And it's actually the video content on stories that people love the most. It was really interesting, Polly. I was telling a client of ours this the other day that I was on the tube in London, and it was rammed, obviously. This was pre-COVID, actually, obviously, completely rammed. There was excuse me, battling a cold. There were 3 young women. They looked like they were about 18, 19, and they were stood. I was stood against the window and they were sat down. Anyway, they were all on Instagram, and none of them scrolled up at all. They only scrolled across.
I only went through the stories, and I know I do that. I'll go down and I'll only go through the stories, but then the stories, some of them, because stories can link you to the post, or they can link, and that's what takes me to a feed.
Yeah, it's really important for people to acknowledge the power of stories to do that. And the reason why people are more interested in stories and video stories a lot of the time is because they feel it's probably there that a brand is most authentic. Because stories only have 24 hours lifespan, people tend to just get stories up all the time. So, and they're quite fun. If you think about, is it Mrs. Hinch?
Yeah.
Her multi-million-pound dynasty she's built up is through stories.
Yeah.
She just has this she had this beautiful career. I don't know what it's like now, but she did have, when she kind of went stratospheric, had a beautiful curated feed. And
should we go and have a look?
Yeah, God knows how she had a house that was all white. I don't know what it looks like now, but when she was building her profile up on stories, it was really authentic. It was just her going, all right, I've just got this cleaning product and I'm going to try and use it. I'm just sticking a toothbrush down a plug hole using this. And like her reviews of cleaning products, she's changed it up so much. If you scroll down, you can see it used to be just pure white. And I was thinking, she's not had kids yet. But so it's much more, she's mixing it up much more now that she's kind of really, really famous. So where's her actual feed, actually? Because that's just her hashtag. But it's her stories, her story videos are how she got millions of followers. I think it's Mrs. Hinch Home, that's her.
And the stories, when somebody's got a story live because they've got an orange circle around them.
Yeah, and look, it's just her cleaning stuff in her house and reviewing, and then people started to send her product. There you go. And she is doing that while holding her phone. She's not got a team there doing it. She's holding a phone and she's reviewing. And people are obsessed with her views on the best way to keep your house clean. So it's powerful. And she's a really good example of like distinguishing between feed and stories.
Another one, actually, we're going to go way off piece. I love doing this. The other one that does this very well is Ms. Holland Cooper.
Oh yeah, Jade Holland Cooper.
Yeah, so her stories are insane.
Yeah, she's really worth following for that reason. I agree. Yeah.
So beautiful curated pictures on her feed, always beautiful pictures. Yeah. But if you go to her story, it's very current. It's irritating that on some amazingly beautiful place at the moment. But you know that when you go to her feed, you will see what she's up to.
Yeah.
It's where I am. It's what I'm doing. It's, here's my baby, here's my husband.
But that's much, yeah.
And her stories are quite addictive because she's selling her product every now and then, but the rest of the time she's showing you her life, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really addictive. It's really addictive.
It is, and I know so many people who follow her and primarily just consume her stories, for sure. I mean, and look, just the use of text and everything, like it's not her brand, it's just how she is communicating. It's another good example. But yeah, the difference between stories and feed, I think, are really well demonstrated by those two examples, for sure.
I mean, it was interesting is that the stories become a long video because you watch them in 15-second chunks, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
really addicting. Very, very addictive. Right. So stories. What we're saying is they're a big driver to actually making people return to your content. Good way to direct people out to your website. Good people to direct people to your posts, and actually a really good way to form a relationship. But they're quick and easy to deliver, Louise, don't they? They don't have to
be, and you can be interactive. So the stories feature on Instagram, you can input a poll, you can encourage people to interact with the content much more, leave messages, you can drive content in different ways. It's much more casual. They go 24 hours later if you don't save them into your highlights. They're just an absolutely crucial way of driving content. My dog always does really well on stories because he's dead cute, so we could derive some really excellent content. But we put Ted in some socks the other day and he danced in them. People loved it. It doesn't matter what good advice I've got, my dog in socks, that's what they're really interested in. But whatever.
I've got a black Labrador puppy at the moment, and it snowed. When it snowed earlier last year, one reel with black puppy with white spots on, and with 101 Dalmatian music, boom, off you go.
Yeah, it's totally true. It's because it's a space to have some fun, really, and you can really help grow your viewership if you really engage with stories. If you've got a really important you mentioned it earlier, actually, if you've got a really important post that you really want people to see, then you need to get it into stories. You need to tell people that it's there.
Yeah, and you can say I posted it, go and look at it. It lets you push people in the nicest possible way. It lets people move you around your feed. And just one sort of thing to flag up here: if you currently got your Moby account set up, all of this is really relevant because every time people see your feed and get attracted to your feed, remember that what we're saying with more video content, Instagram will show your content to more people. The minute people see your feed, they don't have to follow you. The fact they're on your feed means that we're building your audience for you to advertise to. So when you want to boost your posts to people that have already seen your content, it's much easier to reach them because that first organic engagement enables us to create a custom audience for you. So when you want to say something today to somebody about a new thing, it makes it so much simpler. And that's why video matters so much, because it lets you create that organic reach. And Instagram helps you build your audience because they want people to watch your video because it keeps them on the platform longer. You're giving Instagram what they want by creating video, and they'll show you to more people. It's really simple, isn't it, Louise?
Yeah, absolutely. You think about I kind of refer it to, like, imagine somebody who has spent, it's quite precious and has spent a lot of money in buying you this like brand new phone which has loads of features on it, but you insist on using that old Nokia from 1998 because, and then they get really upset with you, so don't want to talk to you anymore. Instagram's a bit like that. A photo is what it used to be. Like video content is what it is now, and if you don't like these new gifts, it won't speak to you.
Yeah, so true. It's so true. And so the ways you can use an Instagram reel is, again, it's I think there's a real risk that everybody can think it's all going to be perfect.
It's really important that it's not. It doesn't have to be at all.
So some of these things look amazing. But that's not complex. That's pretty simple, isn't it, Louise?
Yeah. Oh, that's dead simple. Yeah, absolutely. And because of the editing features, you'll have seen, if you've seen people like click their fingers and suddenly they're in a different item of clothing, and click their fingers and they're in a different item of clothing again. I mean, all they've done is had someone video them while they do that in one set of clothes. They've quickly gone and get changed. they stand it in the same place, do the same thing again, and in Reels will just let you cut those things together, so you just switch.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, people think, oh God, it's so magic, and you're just like,
are you gonna do you show people how to do that in your how-to video?
yeah, we will do. Yeah.
You're going to get naked on film? Okay.
I'm not sure I'm going to get naked. I think that might be above and beyond the Call of Duty.
You switch out the dog, but so yeah. If you want to see a reel in action, and how you do that switch, use the search bar above, and they've got a real life demo of that. So good reel tips. Come on, give me the 4 best things, Louise, to make reels really great.
Okay, so the key with Reels is, so one of the things that you can do is you don't necessarily need to create a reel in the app. Well, you create the reel in the app, but the video content you can do as you're going. So for example, if you take kind of short clips, video clips throughout a day to show a snapshot of your day as an example, you just need to make sure that you are creating them in portrait, so they're vertical and that they're kind of, because in Reels it will sort out the formatting for you, but if you're creating some video content first that you're then going to upload into Reels and edit, then it has to be vertical. That's really crucial. So vertical video. And really the thing is that you're only limited by your imagination, because you can do so much. You know, you can turn yourself into a dog. So, you know, we're gonna do one where maybe we'll do this one for the how-to, where I get replaced by Ted at the desk.
Perfect.
And it's very, very simple how that magic happens. So, and I think once you start to use Reels, you start to have some fun and get creative, and the possibilities are virtually endless of doing that. But yeah, do use hashtags. Loads of people forget to use hashtags. I think, well, I've nailed Reels, that's it, job done.
We were doing some best post content the other day, and we were looking at some stuff that Adidas and Nike had created, and it was amazing. Got a huge engagement on it. They had no hashtags, and like, why? I mean, even enormous brands make some fairly incredible.
Well, there's an arrogance in that, isn't there? I think with some of the bigger brands, in that they've got the following anyway. But it is such a missed opportunity, and Instagram is full of missed opportunities, really.
Incredible, isn't it? So don't make those mistakes. Use your hashtag to make people see your content. And as I said, any questions, put them in the blue button, bottom right. You will connect with the Maybe team. And within the video hub that you're watching this on, if you search the box above for Reels or Stories, you'll find more content from us on those. Louise, you've been fabulous. Thank you. And we'll see you on another video very soon.
Yeah, thanks, Polly.